Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to do the What I Think About assignment here in Digital Design 1 or photography. And this assignment's pretty fun. It teaches us a lot of good stuff that we're going to need to be successful in this class. Let's start out by opening up this photo that we took of you in Photoshop. You can in Photoshop go to File, Open, or if you just happen to have it open here, you can of course just click and drag it into Photoshop like that, and your file will open right. Okay, so here's my photo. We want to use this full-length one because we need a lot of space around the head. We need all this space. But what we don't need is all this down here. What we want to do is get rid of basically everything from here down. I'm going to do that by grabbing my crop tool. And to start out, just make sure that these boxes up here are all blank when we're cropping for this. And what I'm going to do is start up here in the top left-hand corner outside of the canvas. Don't start in here. Start out here. Just click and drag down and make a box down to about right there. And then you can come up here and you can press this button, you can press enter on your keyboard, you can right click and choose crop. You do it any way you want, and we want to end up with something that looks about like this. Perfect. Next, you're going to want to go to Google and do an image search for things that are interesting to you. For example, I love golf this time of year, so I'm going to type in golf and I'm going to click on images, and then super important, I'm going to click on this search tools button right here, and I'm going to change the size to large. And you need to get in the habit of doing that pretty much every time you do a Google Images search. We always want to change the search tools size large. And I don't know, I like this photo right here, so I'm going to click on that. I'm going to wait for this bar down here to continue loading. Don't do anything until this little bar down here has loaded all the way up. Now that it's all loaded, I'm just going to right click and choose Save Image As. By the way, if that bar never loads, that means that for some reason the school's Wi-Fi is blocking it and you need to choose a different picture. I'm going to go into my folder in the class folder, Johnson, Mr. Let's make a new folder called What I Think About. I'm going to save this in here. And I want you to do this for 4 more images. I won't make you watch me do it, but we want a total of 4 different images. So maybe for this next one I do deer hunting. And I would click on this one to download that. So get a total of 5 images downloaded, and we will go from there. Okay, I got all of my images downloaded, and so I'm going to go in Photoshop. I'm going to go to File, Open. I'm going to go into my folder, to my What I Think About, and here's my 5 images that I have downloaded. I'm going to just make life less complicated. I'm just going to open one at a time for now. So I'll just click on this first one and open it up. And here we go. The first thing we need to do is right off the bat, if our photo needs some cropping, we would crop it. So maybe I grab my crop box and I don't want that part in there. Maybe I'll just click and drag to get rid of that, or maybe I only want these ducks over here. I just hit escape there to start over. I'm just going to click and drag over that. Don't crop your photos too tight. In fact, leave some extra space. My goal is to get this duck right here. So I'm going to leave a nice loose crop around him and press enter. And now I'm going to grab my elliptical marquee tool, this dude right here, and I'm going to draw a circle around the duck. And I can click inside of that circle and move it around and put it right about where I want it, and perfect. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. I'm going to grab my move tool, and I need to move this image over into this photograph. Notice these 2 tabs up here. So I have both my photos open. The way you do that is you can only do it with the move tool. You can't do it with any other tool, and there has to be a selection there. So I got my selection. I'm going to click right on my duck, and here we go. I'm dragging it up. I'm holding the mouse button down the whole time. I'm going to hover over this tab for just a second until it switches. I'm going to come down. I'm going to let go. And there you go. That is about perfect. If I needed to make this a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, I would Control-T it, hold down Shift, drag from the corner to make it a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, and then press enter. Notice, take a look at my layers palette. Notice that this image, this duck picture, is on its own layer, which is exactly what I wanted. Okay, very good. So I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to close it. Photoshop's going to say, do you want to save it? I'm going to say, no, thank you. Go to File, Open again. Go to my next image, which is of golf. It's my golfing image. Really, I don't need to crop. I could actually just grab my circle tool, draw a circle around the part that I want to keep. Even though all this image is beautiful, I want to focus on the part that I want. Grab my move tool and then click and drag this up and over to the other tab. Wait for a second, then bring it down, let it go. Now this one's obviously too big. I got to do some Control-T on this one. Hold down Shift, drag from the corner till it's around the same size as the other one. I can even put it over the top of it, then move it back over here and press enter and say I'm good. Close this one. I want you to keep going until you have all 5 of your images in this canvas. Okay, I want to show you this. I just copied my last image over. It was this of this Xbox, and you can see when it came over, it was huge. It was so big it covered everything up. And then I even press Control T, and it looks like nothing happens. I can't see anything. Well, the reason why is because the image is so big. I got to zoom way out, and there's my box there. Now I can hold down Shift, drag from the corner, and get that in there at a more reasonable size. Put it up here, and then press enter. Okay, so now that I got all 5 in here, if you need to, you can move them around, reorder them. I probably shouldn't put family at the bottom since it should be my most important thing, so I'll put that up here at the top. Xbox, I don't even play Xbox that much anymore. I used to play a lot. And I like duck hunting a little bit better than deer hunting, although I love them both to death. So I'm going to put them in that order. If you're trying to click and it's not moving, make sure you come up here with the Move tool selected and choose this Auto Select Layer. That will make life much, much easier for you. Okay, so now we need to go through and make it look like this person is thinking about all 5 of these things. And let me show you how we're going to do that. It's going to be done with the elliptical marquee tool and some little Photoshop trickery. So let's make sure we're on that tool first. And let's start with my family layer since it's the most important one. I'm going to click on it with the Move tool to make sure that layer is what is selected. And make sure just move it around a little bit. Good. I'm going to move it down using the arrow keys. And what I'm going to do is come over here onto this layer's thumbnail right here. Don't do this anywhere else. It has to be right here. I'm going to hold down Control and I'm going to click right on that. And you can see that makes a selection around the picture for me. Let me show you that one more time. Control click right on the layer thumbnail. Can't do it out here or here. It's got to be right here. Control click. And that puts that selection around it for me. Now all I need is a couple little bubbles coming from, nope, I was just kidding. We're not going to do that yet. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go up to Edit, and I'm going to choose Stroke, and I want my width to be 5px. I want my color, I'm going to click on that right there, this bring up, I want that to be black, and I'm going to choose Center right here, and I'm going to press OK. You can see that puts, if I press Control D to make my selection go away, that puts a little black line around my image. I actually want that to be a little bit thicker, so I'm going to Control Alt Z to before I put the stroke in it. So I'm going to go to Edit Stroke, and let's make that just a little bit thicker. We do that by changing the width. I'm going to change that to 15, and let's see how that looks. Press OK. Oh, that looks perfect. Control D to make this selection go away. Control D will make that selection go away. And now I'm going to add my little thought bubbles going from here to my head. And I do that by grabbing the elliptical marquee tool. It's hanging out right here. I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to press and hold the Shift key on my keyboard. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow me to make multiple bubbles from the same selection. So you can see I just did that by holding down Shift and click and drag, let go, click and drag, let go, click and drag, let go. Then I'm just going to go up and go to Edit Fill. Fill that with white. You see here's white right here. Press OK. And then Edit Stroke. And I'm going to use that same settings, 15. Press OK. Press Control D to make my selection go away. And I put the thought bubbles on the same layer as layer 4 as the picture, so that if I need to move it, I can kind of move the thought bubbles with it, kind of like that. I'm going to show you one more, and then you're on your own. Let's go to my Xbox layer down here. I'm going to make sure I'm on the right layer by clicking on it with the Move tool, and that selects this layer. Hold down Control, click on this. Go to Edit Stroke, 15, press OK. Control D, grab my marquee tool, hold down Shift, and this time I'm going to need a few more bubbles, so I'm going to start with a big one. And let's bring this all the way over, getting a little bit smaller every time. I think I'll go with that. Edit Fill, choose white, Edit Stroke. Everything should be set OK. Press OK. Control D. And now if I need to, I can move this a little bit closer or a little bit farther away. Go ahead and continue to do that with all 5 of your pictures. All right, so I've done this with all my pictures, and everything is looking good, and I feel like I'm done. So I'm going to come up, as always, I'm going to go to File, Save. Whenever we're working with something that has multiple layers, you can see the default format is going to be Photoshop. That's great. I'm going to make sure I'm in my folder. Put this in the What I Think About. You can call this whatever you want. It's a Photoshop PSD file. Perfect. Hit Save. And then I really want to turn this in. So I'm going to now go to File, Save As. Come up here and go to the Grading folder in Period 6. Find the What I Think About assignment. Come in here. Change the file name to last name, comma, first name. And make sure you change the format from a Photoshop to a JPEG. And if you do that, everything should work fine and you're good to go. Go ahead and press on Save, and you're done. You can close this, and you have turned in the assignment.